Huge news about the Rebel Scum podcast. Everybody that's here, thank you very much. Brock, this is something that I actually haven't told you verbally yet or written or anything. I haven't mentioned it to you. But we're going to stop being the Rebel Scum podcast, and we will change ourselves to the Chucky podcast because Mark Hamill is the voice of Chucky.
Chucky from Rugrats?
Chucky from Rugrats is Mark Hamill.
I gotta get my Riptar shirt out. That's true. We have not spoken of this yet.
We haven't, but because it kind of happened in the midst of Star Wars Celebration and all this fun Star Wars stuff that's been going on.
Yeah, it's I've never been a Chucky fan, but obviously I'll give this a spin for the Jedi Master.
I'm a huge Chucky fan. Chucky is my favorite horror character. By a landslide.
Give me your top 5 Chucky movies.
Top 5 Chucky movies.
Top 5.
Bride of Chucky. Chucky Strikes Back. Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3, I made my mom rent it when I was in grade, I think I was like 11 or 12. I'm like, Mom, we need to watch Child's Play 3. And she's like, why?
You can rent it at that point.
No, my mom rented it for me. I was like, Mom, we need to watch Child's Play 3. She's like, no. I'm like, yeah.
Were you in grade 11 or 12, or you were 11 or 12?
I was 11 or 12 years old. I was a child.
I was like, dude, you're like 17, 18. They'll let you do that.
No, when I was a kid, I'm like, Mom, we gotta rent Chucky because my dad was working nights, and I'm like, yeah, when my sisters Chris and Stacy, when they go to bed, we're gonna watch Chucky, and she's like, okay, I'll rent it for you. Shut up. So we rented it, and I was like, I never seen a Chucky movie up until this point, but I seen the commercials like crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie changed my life. So good. So good.
I envisioned that retelling of how you convinced your mother as what's the Pena? Thomas Pena from Ant-Man? What's that guy's name?
Michael Pena?
Michael Pena,
yeah,
thank you. It's like,
she had a glass of red wine. But
Mom, we're going to rent it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I envisioned that.
But it's so funny. Like, I think now I'm like, wow, she would let, like, however old I was, watch that movie. Nowadays, it's like, you will not watch Power Rangers. It's too violent. But my mom was like, yeah, let's watch Chucky tonight. Whatever, put it in. Oh, look at that. He's murdering kids. That was the one where Chucky, it's Andy. He goes to, because 2 and 3 came out, like, within a year. So the original Andy, like, was too young for Andy in part 3. So they had to recast him. And he's, like, old. And he's in, I think, military school. Such a good flick. And then last Halloween, a new Chucky movie came out, and I was at a friend's house. Aaron was like, we're going to a friend's. I'm like, okay. And they're like, we should watch a movie on Netflix. And I said, well,
the Cult of Chucky.
They haven't. Yeah. And I was like, they haven't made a bad Chucky movie, which is, you could argue totally opposite. And we watched the whole thing to the point where one of them got up and left. But I stayed. Anyway, this is the Chucky Scum podcast. I'm James.
I'm Brock. And this is the Rebel Scum podcast where we give you the Star Wars news you need to know. James, have you recovered from Celebration?
I'm not going to lie. I do a 1313 audio podcast for our Patreons every day.
Yep.
And I actually mentioned, I was like, you know what? I am exhausted from Celebration. I'm like, I wasn't even there, but I was like, well, we did do a lot of coverage. And it was actually, and then like, but at the same time, I was like, because I'm not there, I still want to like experience everything and watch all of the panels. And I was really tired. How about you?
Yeah, I had to rewatch. I rewatched a few things just because like I felt like, I think I said it last week, there's so much I think I've missed. But yeah, I think I rewatched 2 or 3 panels again just to get all the details because I think I was fast tracking over a few of them. But yeah, I will say this, and this is not fair of me to say because I'm biased. I work in corporate AV. Brag. But watching whoever cut this show, I was like, what's happening? What is happening? But that's okay. That's okay. mistakes happen. But there were a lot of points where I'm like, they didn't really rehearse this at all or figure this out. But hey, that's fun. I guess I would love to be on that crew. I would love to work Celebration for 4 or 5 days. I don't mind being stuck in a convention hall, missing all the outside fun. As long as I can be in that room and like contribute, I would be so content. But who puts it together? Is it like a production crew for Star Wars YouTube.com? Because they do the stream, but like maybe that's an outside. I don't know.
Last time we were there 2 years ago, was the company that you work for currently was the company that they outsourced to do it. I don't know.
Well, we're not sure about that.
We
saw them there. We saw the truck and we saw items, but you're in-house in a venue doesn't necessarily mean you're running the show. That being said, though, it could be my company. I don't know. That'd be great to move there and work there. But that was in Orlando.
That was in Orlando, not in Chicago. Where we haven't had the final tally on Andrew Fantasia's deep dish pizza adventure, but I think it was just the one slice because I think he was too afraid. I think after we did the odds, he's like, well, now they're expecting it. I can't go and eat it. But I have to say this though, Brock, because you don't know the story about how he got his deep dish pizza. You will love it. I don't know if anyone else will. They will, but you will definitely love it because after we did our live stream on Friday with him after the Rise of the Skywalker panel, he told Aaron and myself how he came into contact with a deep dish pizza, and it's quite the adventurous story. Not what you'd expect.
He's like, I went to a 7-Eleven and I got a frozen one.
That was it. He was funny because he flew back. He's like, hey, I just wanted to know I landed. I said, thanks, son. And then like an hour later, I go, hey, you ready to record? As a joke. And he laughed. And then he goes, yeah, no, but let me know. And I was like, dude, you need to sleep. Like, take your time. Gather your thoughts. And so he's going to be on the show, not this show, but a show on the channel next week talking about something. I don't know what, because everything like we saw, I don't know if you guys watched, but he did 5 straight days of interviewing people on the floor. Like we've seen enough Andrew. I don't know what else he has to say about anything at this point.
Exactly. He's just like, look at the things I got.
Yeah. Oh, he got me. Did he get you anything?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, he got me a few things.
Oh, well, lucky you.
None of which were what I'm about to hold up right now, and that is this Black Series Porg set. That's right. Actual size. I'll put it against my head so you can all see the actual size. This was, in Canadian dollars, this was $79.95 on eBay. And no, I'm joking. I did not. Could you imagine? I was really worried. I got a Praetorian guard, and I was like, I want this guard.
Yeah.
But it was more than $7. The guard, the porgs were less than $7. I just want to point that. But the guard was more than $7, and I was like, well, looking at it, it looks like it's an actual Black Series figure, like scale. But is it one of those mini Black Series figures? Yeah. I got I was nervous about that, and I don't know the dimensions of any of them, so I was like, well, I'm gonna take a stab at the dark here, and I did, and it turned out to be the one I wanted. So he will be added to my shelf, along with the Elite Series Praetorian Guard that Andrew Fantasia snagged for me at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, I was at EB today and I saw the Jump Trooper and I almost bought it, but I was just like, But you have that one, right?
I did, because I love Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And I have the Jump Trooper, Scarab Trooper, and Hover Tank Pilot behind me right now.
Nice.
What else do I have? And Grievous.
Yeah, you can see mine here. Ooh.
Oh, look at Brock. He's got toys. Oh, I got General Grievous as well. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I saw that one today too. I was like, ooh.
He's too expensive though.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. They're such great figures, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, he's like, I think the Elite Series Grievous was cheaper and it's 10 pounds heavier. This Grievous is a little thin. The Black Series Grievous is a little thin. He needs to eat a little bit is what I gotta say. He needs a plate of spaghetti in front of him. He's got to start going nuts on the carbs. He needs some carbohydrates. That's why Kenobi beat him so easily.
General Kenobi, you are a bold one.
So I got to bring this up about porgs because I'm holding it right now. At Star Wars Celebration Chicago 2019, that's the official title of the event. I think it was Ash Crossan from Entertainment Tonight. That one.
Yeah.
And she asked J.J. Abrams about porgs. And he really didn't give an answer. So I'm never tell me the odds, Brock. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
We got to get to some. Never tell me
Keep
the
it
odds
in
later.
here.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen now. So, what were your big takeaways from Star Wars Celebration Chicago 2019? That's the official title.
This official title thing keeps throwing me out.
Yeah.
It looks like the future of Star Wars is in good hands. That we've got a lot coming our way. The Star Wars train is nowhere near stopping, and I mean, with the announcement so quickly, did they announce? No, they couldn't have announced this current Star Wars Celebration when we were in Orlando. But when we were in Orlando, they knew that there was not going to be one in 2018, right.
That the next one would be 2019, but they didn't say where. And at the
Yeah.
closing ceremonies, Warwick Davis said, "And we'll see you guys in 2019, wherever that may be." And
Yeah.
everybody moaned. It was, "Oh, we smell bad."
Yeah, but like to have them announce it the year that it's going to be next year, 2020, and where it's going to be, Anaheim, like that's good news. I mean, and why wouldn't they hold it? It's, this year it expanded to 5 years in a bigger venue, like, and it basically sold out. Did they ever have a final number on ticket sales or whatever? Like, it did well. Why wouldn't they do it as much as... I mean, the whole point of it is to celebrate Star Wars and then also sort of promote and get excited or talk about the new content. So as long as they make new content, it makes sense to continue to do the celebration. Actually, I like that part in the Phantom Menace panel when they showed old pictures from the first one in Denver. I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And it's crazy how far it's grown.
And it was like in a tent.
Yeah.
Like it was like this. We're in a tent. We're the 30 Star Wars fans that are still around, and we're gonna hang out. And I'm like, that is awesome. I got to talk to a Sheldon. You know Sheldon, my friend Sheldon.
Yeah,
our friend Sheldon.
Yeah.
Because he's been to several of them,
mm-hmm.
and like he's been going. I want to say the third celebration was his first one. I was talking to him in the summer about it, and he was like really talking about how much it's changed and stuff like that. And he actually he liked Celebration Orlando,
mm-hmm.
but he was like, he actually said to me, he said, and this was in June, in August. I think he said in August. He goes, if this celebration is like the last one, I don't think I'll be going to another. And then he's like, it's really unfortunate that was your first one. I was like, huh, interesting. But so anyway, he went to Chicago. He posted pictures nonstop, and I said, I hate your guts. And then so on Monday afternoon or Tuesday, I sent him a message and I said, "You going to Anaheim next year?" And he, without hesitation, yeah. So no, but from what I saw, this one seemed like they got a lot. Like there were still issues, obviously, but it looks like they got a lot of their poop together.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said that they fixed or they changed how you got into panels. Wasn't there like a digital like they scanned? There was something like that, and it wasn't so random. You didn't have to wait in line for hours, to my knowledge, right? There wasn't as much lineup craziness.
No, I think it was more organized. But Andrew said it was more like you were cattle just waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way she goes when you have that many people in a place. But they learn. Hopefully, they learn each year. So people keep coming. So that's the problem. Like, it's just gonna get more and more people. So whatever. I'm excited.
Well, here was a question I asked Andrew on Friday, because I was thinking about this a lot on Friday, because I was really bummed out that I wasn't at this celebration. I actually towards the end I was trying really hard to get there, but because of work I just couldn't get the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would love it if there was one. Just in my head, I was like, I would love it if there's one next year with no movies coming out next year. It's like there's just this, like, as great as Episode 9 panel was, don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that, but just there'd be no stress, no pressure of that being there. That it would almost like, because what I keep saying is I love that celebration aspect of it, but when you put those panels in, it's like it's not celebrating Rise of Skywalker. It's experiencing this new thing, which is a great experience and a completely different one. And I asked Andrew, and he was really on the fence about that interesting him. But how do you feel about that now that we know that? I mean, look, Benny F and Whites could be, coming out in 2020. Probably won't be. Like, I don't see how, but like 2021 maybe. So how do you feel about if there is no film coming out next year, going to a celebration that doesn't have that aspect to it?
I totally understand where you're coming from, because it's it's supposed to celebrate Star Wars, but like if you're revealing all this stuff, all of a sudden attention to that event becomes bigger. You're getting like a San Diego Comic-Con effect, where it's like you not only have to deal with the deluge of people that are showing up because one, they like Comic-Con and it's so popular that you go to it, but then you have to deal with the media because they want to cover all these movie releases and what have you. Like, I think media is always going to be present because an event is happening in a city. They're like, oh, this is cool, look at all these people, like that's news, you want to report on that. But like, if there's no major announcement, like if the most major announcement is like, here's a new episode of Clone Wars or Resistance or the C-3PO talk show hour, I don't know, like whatever, like people probably won't come for that. But when it's like, oh, all these stars are going to be in this building, and they're also going to reveal next Christmas's big hit, yeah, you're going to show up,
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then if there's no controversy or drama of like, oh, is JJ going to screw up, or what does JJ think of this, and what does Kathleen Kennedy have to say about that, then you're going to get people showing up. I don't know. It's just like, let's just go and have fun,
That's what I want. That's why as of right now, we said this last year, but we couldn't make it. But as of right now, I'm planning. Well, Erin told me I don't have a choice. I have to go next year. She actually said, she goes, well, you have to go. So actually, what's funny is I follow all these. So I was like really overly prepared for Celebration this year. And I didn't even end up going. I follow all these Facebook groups, and I'm like talking with people. Like I knew all. So there's all these groups because I'm not smart at all. I just like to like ride on the coattails of other people's knowledge. And so I'm on this group, and people were already on this page, and somebody said, I just booked the hotel for this weekend 2020. But it was like a whole, like 2 weekends he had booked, like this whole week. And then somebody else said, yeah, I just booked. Like the next day somebody goes, I just booked. And the guy at the other end said, he was trying to ask me if I was making a mistake, and he goes, is there something happening that weekend? Because we just had 30 rooms book for that weekend. And so I think it's cool. I look, it's awesome that, because the thing is, you could book now and then you have until 5 days before to cancel your room.
Exactly.
So it's not like it's costing anything, and it's fun. And the thing with Celebration that is so awesome is exactly what we said, though. It's just people going there to have a freaking good time.
Yeah.
Talking, loving, being embraced by Star Wars. And and someone, I think it was Matt Martin from the story group, said it the best. He's like, after the last year of Star Wars nonsense on social media and YouTube, that last weekend Star Wars Celebration was like a much needed boost of positivity for the fandom. And because you know what, a group of fans that hate something so much doesn't sell out the 5-day pass in a week. Like that doesn't, like the Jedi passes, that whatever. But like, man, 2017 when we went, what was it, 4 months before we were able to get a 5-day pass.
Yeah.
And this year we were like, we're gonna have to get them now or they're gone.
Yeah.
And so we did.
It was great though that the Celebration folk at ReedPop, or ReedPop does most of the control of that stuff. They were able to give us media accreditation. That was great. Thank you. And Andrew made use of that, I believe. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's great to be recognized. I'm sure they have lists of people that we're probably nowhere near on their radar, but at least to be understood that like, oh, this is a Star Wars podcast. Let's get them in here. Just give them one pass. That's fine. So like that was really like that was when I was talking about. Even though I couldn't go, I was like, oh, that's so cool. We got it.
Yeah, it was. Well, we got it like at the exact same time because like, well, obviously we did, but we saw it at the same time. It was just like this moment of shock. Like, what? Really? That you're gonna give us that? Because I think what happened was somebody at Lucasfilm called Reed Pop and said, "Be ready for these guys." And they and I think they waited, and they did, and they were like, "It's coming, and they accepted it. And it was I won't say who I told, but I told another podcast that we got it, and they did meet up with Andrew, and they actually are in one of his videos, so I guess you could narrow it down to who it is. And they're like, "What? That's amazing!" I'm like, guys, just next time, just fill out the form and just be honest when you're doing it.
Yeah,
and like. We love Star Wars, and the thing is, they gave it to us, and we're all like dancing around like this is the greatest thing. And for them, they're going to come in here, and they're going to promote us, in a positive fashion. Like that's what we do, and because that's what it is. Like we did it 2 years ago, and we didn't have media.
Yeah. So
that was tiring.
Because it was hot.
That was
ish.
Well, next year might even be hotter. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, Brock, if we do decide to go, are we going to attempt Galaxy's Edge, or will our bank accounts be erased by the time Celebration is over, though?
No, because we have hopefully more than a year. But the problem is that means we have to go. We have to be there either a day early or stay a couple days after, which I have zero problem with. Because if you're gonna go to California, you might as well stay for a week. But yeah, I'm curious exactly which venue it's going to be. If it's going to be very close to the park, I've looked at maps of the Disneyland Anaheim park. It's slightly different from Orlando, but I wonder if there would be a close proximity. Imagine they had some kind of convention hall and we literally had to go into Disney.
Oh my God.
I mean, if you can keep the energy, like, it would be cool if part of the pass was like, oh, yeah. And by the way, feel free to go to Galaxy's Edge at the end of the day, because they may stay open till 10 or 11, depending on what day of the week it is and the season. But imagine like ending your day like 2 or 3 hours in the park each day. Like, that won't happen because they'll want you to buy a ticket every day. But like, I am totally down. I'm a big Disney fan, and everything they do is great. So, and there's always something new to see. So there's no possible way to see it multiple times. But I am so in. But if we are at Celebration standing in lines all day and Galaxy's Edge is still crazy busy, then yeah, maybe we have to like balance out. But I don't know about you. I'm ready to go to Disneyland, no problem.
I have a few plans for if we go to Anaheim. A few things that I want to check off. Not like scenery wise. I've been to Anaheim a few times, but some cool things to add to everything. I'm kind of looking forward to it. But you said hopefully we have more than a year. Yeah. Do you have a suspicion of when?
I mean,
Anaheim 2020 will be.
I don't. It'd be nice if it was in the summer. But because the last two have been basically the same time of year. But I think I even asked you when you said, oh, by the way, Star Wars Celebration 2020 Anaheim, and I said, oh, have they ever done it in the summer? Did you not say like England was in the summer?
Yeah, they called it Europe, but it was in England.
Europe.
That one was in July. I believe July. Remember the Rogue One stuff, and you came over and we did that reaction that 50 people watched. That was, I think, our first video that we put up, other than like Andrew saying that I really like Tarkin, the novel Tarkin. It's a good book.
So California in July, I don't know, maybe not the greatest idea, but if you're in a convention all day, who cares? It's
I've
it's
done
gonna be
California
hot.
in July. Yeah, I've done California in July twice.
Yeah, is it okay?
Yeah, it's just hot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We live in freaking snow.
Drink water.
Like this, this winter was so doggone awful that I don't care. Just bring the heat. I don't even care anymore. 900 degrees, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just want some heat in my life. Actually, today was really hot out. I don't know how it was where you are, but I went outside and it was like
enjoyable.
a spring jacket.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nice day. No, look, it's hot. Yeah. But if you're inside, it's going to be air conditioned anyway.
Yeah,
now at the park, going to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
We'll have to spend $900 on a bottle of water shaped like Coca-Cola BB-8 droids or something. But whatever. Like, it is. We do everything for the people that are supporting us on YouTube.
Yep. We
And
do what we love, so no problems.
I will sacrifice everything to go to Galaxy's Edge for you.
Oh, for sure.
So, no, I have a few ideas that could be a lot of fun. I think from covering it when we were there and covering it when we weren't there, I think I've figured out some stuff that I'm like, oh, this is what we should do. Brock, wear pink shorts without a shirt. Did you see that cosplayer as the boom mic operator from A New Hope, where he just wore those little pink shorts with no shirt and walked around with a boom pole? Oh my God, find this guy. Best cosplay ever. He's the boom operator from A New Hope.
I saw there was a group of people that I think went up on the Star Wars YouTube stage as the technician that runs around with the ice cream maker.
Yes, ice cream maker.
But then I saw someone dressed up as the ice cream maker carrying a technician.
Yes. I saw that too. That was great. Yeah, they're getting creative. Aaron, were you there last year when they did the ice cream maker guys all came around?
The which ones?
When I think it was with Aaron, and we were just walking around, and all of a sudden I hear is like that, and you turn and you see all these guys running with their ice cream makers.
No,
and it was like, there was like 50 of them at least just running around. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I think that was on the last day. We saw the last day was the day. Like I said, it was stress free, just kind of do whatever. And I saw so much that day. But it was the Last Jedi panel was, we were there really for not for that, but that was a big thing. Yeah. Actually, side Akbar, remember when we decided to? Do you remember how we decided to go to that celebration?
How we decided?
We were walking down the street where I used to live.
Yeah.
Like just with our hands, like just walking. It was me, and Aaron. We were going to go get a beverage.
Yes.
From a local tavern.
Oh yes.
And you're just aside. You're like, we should go to Celebration. And somehow that ended up with us going to Celebration. You're like, we have a podcast now. We should go. And I was like, yeah, we have 25 listens on SoundCloud. Why aren't we there? And we went. And now now Andrew Fantasia represent us as part of the media at this one.
Ugh. We truly have fallen on dark days.
Dark days. Andrew had really good seats for the Phantom Menace panel, though.
Was that the one he got in on? That was the one he sent to you. It was like, hey, I got the pass for it, right? Like he didn't have to wait in line, or he got.
Oh, Brock. Yes, that was the one that I got the pass to as well. Oh. And I was. Because, okay, so this is what happened. I was actually seriously trying to get there, trying to get the time off of work to go. Mm-hmm. Like, really, really hard. And so I was like, well, look, if I end up going, I'm going to regret it if I don't put my name in any of the panels. Yeah. Right? And then I was like, if I get into, all the panels, then I have to be like, I'm sick or I have to go visit a relative. Or, I had to come up with something to get out of work. So time went by and I didn't hear. It was supposed to come the day after or something. I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh man, this is balls. 5:44 a.m. the day Andrew left on the Wednesday before Celebration, I get a message from Grotix, I think. Congratulations. And I was just like, oh, congratulations. And then it was kind of like, okay, if it's the episode 9 panel, I can't make it anyway because there's no way I can get there for Friday.
Yeah.
So I won't be disappointed. If it's the Mandalorian, it's a Sunday. There's a chance I could get there. If it's a Phantom Menace, now we're really, really pushing it. And that's the one that I wanted, if you remember my top 5.
Yeah.
Before. And it was a frickin' Phantom Menace. So I was really disappointed. And then the way it worked was whoever's account it was all under, pretty much automatically got put in the lottery if you applied for. So Erin was the one who we bought all our tickets under her login for things. So she was in that raffle as well, and she also got the 20th anniversary panel. And I cried for 3.5 days. And Andrew kept sending me pictures of him and the stage behind him just giving me the finger. He's like, payback, buddy, payback. I know, but his seats ended up being like phenomenal. And
Nice.
And I was actually happy for him because, you know, I'm a Jar Jar guy, and Ahmed Best was there, and I was like, that's awesome. But he is a huge Palpatine fan, and he got to have Ian McDermott come out, and I think Ian McDermott passed him in like the hallway at some point, and he needed to be revived.
It was like that scene from oh God, Can't Hardly Wait, where it's like where the Ethan Embry calls out to Jessica Love Hewitt, and he says what's her character name, and he's like, and she turns, she's like, what?
Amanda?
Amanda? He's like,
Amanda?
And she looks, he's like, oh. It's like Ian McDermott.
Yeah, so he's like, Ian McDermott, ever since I saw you eating my same favorite Pop-Tart as me, I just...
Andrew, I like him. He's always wearing t-shirts.
Side Akbar, Donald Faison is in that movie. He is also in Star Wars Resistance.
Yes,
and Star Wars Explained, got a photo op with Donald Faison doing the Eagle from Scrubs.
Amazing.
Just, that was the best. Even, so Star Wars Explained like retweeted it. It's like, this is the greatest photo I've ever had. And Donald Faison commented on how amazing it actually was.
Yeah, like awesome. Him and Bobby Moynihan in the Resistance panel, they get it. Like, I think everyone loves Star Wars, but they're like actors who love Star Wars and all of that. And this is a dream come true, and you could tell because they just ran out into the crowd right at the beginning and then ran back in. Oh, so good.
Oh man, I would like to get into that panel. I don't know if Andrew saw that panel. I feel like Andrew left for good after the Phantom, and he was like, "I'm done. It's been 5 days. I'm tired. Good night." I did the live stream with him on Friday, and I think he was like, "I never want to record a video again. I am done." It was celebration's fun. If you ever have a chance to go. End of discussion.
Go.
We should all be so lucky. So episode 9 is now called Rise of Skywalker. Brock, every time we say episode 9, we've got to put a toonie, which is a $2 Canadian coin, into the jar. I'm down $26.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Brock, can I borrow $26? So
No.
I'm down $26 because I catch myself, thank you, saying it quite a bit. But what were some of the big takeaways for you during that trailer or the panel itself?
I think I said it before, but I feel like they're pulling all the stops on this movie because to show such an amazing opening scene there where Rey jumps over the X-Wing TIE fighter is like, wow, this is just a trailer. What's the movie like? I mean, it could not be the case, but I was like, wow, to put this in your trailer, and that usually you don't put the greatest thing in your trailer, especially with Star Wars. They don't want to ruin anything. So like they're gonna pull out all the stops, which rightfully so. It's the last of the saga, which I hate saying because it's like it's the last of the saga. But they kind of say, like, this is the last one. It's like, no. There's going to be more movies at some point. They just won't be a Skywalker saga. But yeah, no, the trailer, I'm just trying to think of... that's pretty much what I took away from it because I was hyped. People I was working with watched me watch this trailer. And they're like, whoa, what's wrong with you? It's like, well, I enjoy fiction or fictional movies about non-existing people.
Who doesn't? I mentioned this on the live stream, but I watched it with my 8-year-old nephew.
Right.
Who's like a cat. Like, his funny because all of his bed sheets are Star Wars, and he has like this Yoda thing. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, it's Star Wars. He doesn't really. He likes like Avengers. He loves, right, but like Star Wars, he kind of. I guess he kind of likes the look of it, but he doesn't care about the movies at all. Mm-hmm. So I showed him the trailer, and yeah, when Rey flipped, he was like, "What? Whoa!" like going crazy. But this was the part that I want to talk to you about. It's when Kylo Ren stabs that guy that may or may not be a Knight of Ren.
Yeah.
And body slams him. He turned and he goes, Kylo Ren's a good guy now?
Yeah.
Like he was like in this like zone moment.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to tell me, is Kylo Ren a good guy now?
Like anything in this galaxy, everything is ambiguous, or at least from the trailer standpoint. I mean, yeah, it's sort of like, oh, hey, wait a second. You're in black and you're fighting a guy in black, but the black means villain in these movies. It means villain. Black is bad. So yeah, I mean, do I want him to be redeemed, or sorry, what's it called? Bendemption? Is that what the girls
Hashtag
say?
bendemption.
Bendemption.
Yeah,
Hashtag bendemption. I don't know. I think he needs to be the villain. That needs to be that. But I'm gonna.
But here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so wait, but if Palpatine, the SHVP, comes back and he's the big bad of all 9 films, like at the end of the day, he's the big bad villain, which I'm totally fine with. That doesn't mean Kylo, like and let's say Kylo Ren teams up with Rey and Finn and Poe and 3PO and R2 and BB-8 and Dio and all those fun little guys. That doesn't necessarily even make him a good guy.
Yeah.
It just means that he's like, well, there's something out there, and that thing is even worse than me, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
So the only way we can stop that guy is for us to get together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I really want to ask other people that. But is that a redemption story for Kylo still? Like, he wouldn't be redeemed, but he kind of would be. They would be like, okay, we forgive you for killing your father, or something. But like, is that even stronger than him just being like, I am now light side Ben?
Yeah, I think at one point during one of the numerous streams we did in the last week, I think someone compared him. I think it was Rob. Rob compared him to a Loki character, where it's sort of like you never really know where his allegiance stands, and I can get behind that. Though I feel like Kylo is sort of set in his ways, and maybe his ways could change. But I personally think that we can tell a story with him, but maybe he's not like the villain to be vanquished, but he can stay who he is. So I don't know. It's until we get another fuller trailer, it's really hard to make that call. Like, but I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, is to constantly be like, what about this and what about that? What about this? Nothing has pushed me in the way of wanting it. I guess it's not believing. It's like I just look at the story from my standpoint. And I'm like, why? Why do we need to do that? But to support our friends over at Girls with Saber, Reylo is great.
But here's my thing, and I'm like, if you redeem Kylo Ren, give me a purpose other than we need him to be redeemed.
Yeah, I don't.
Give it value, give it purpose. And I know, before everyone starts writing in the comments, I know there are a million ways to do that, obviously. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it in the movie. I don't want anything to happen for the sake of happening. In regards to Reylo, which you commented on earlier, which you are 100% behind, I think the Skywalker saga, since A New Hope, is all based around love anyway. So I don't know if I'm gonna see, Kylo and Rey or Ben Solo and Rey make out full out tonguing each other.
Yeah.
But there's some aspect of love that is going to determine the outcome of their fates are built around love, and it might be, family love, could be relationship love, could be porg love. I don't know, but there'll be some kind of of love that is going to guide them, because love is ultimately what saved Anakin, the love for his son, right?
Yeah.
Like and what started Luke on this mission was he was like, look at that chick, that's your sister, dude. But it was like, that like these movies are built around that.
Yeah.
And then for people, and like I said, I don't know if it has to be like, and the reality is even Rey might be like, I'm not looking at that. Like Daisy Ridley was like, she said she can't get behind Reylo because it's toxic because he killed all these people. Okay. So maybe Rey can never feel that connection. But if there's something there, there's always something there, and it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's that also side Akbar that she can't get behind Kylo Ren and Rey, but she can get behind Ben Solo and Rey.
Just because you change the tone of your voice doesn't make it more convincing. Ben Solo. But no, I do agree with you, because like that is one of the personality growth or character growth for Rey in Last Jedi, is that even though she can see that he's probably not a person you want to waste your time on, she's still kind of, I can help you. You can come back from where you've been. And she, even to like pretty much to they duel, she's still kind of like, she doesn't say you're a monster. Well, she kind of does, but you know what I mean? Like, even when she closes off that connection she has with him, or at least at that moment went on Crate, it's sort of still like, I tried and I'm still here, but right now it's like, so I can get behind the love thing. But yeah, and also like the whole revelation that Leia and Luke are like brother and sister. As much as we got, no, there's another Skywalker, there really is no, it's just like, oh, by the way, you're related. And we're like, okay, cool. We've always just accepted that. And maybe it's because of years of so much legends and expanded universe that we're like, oh, I understand. And then of course the prequels are like, nah. But like, to be watching the original trilogy and people just sort of like accept, oh, okay, I understand now. But when you think about it, the story is just sort of like, your brother and sister, and that's it. And you're like,
yep,
okay.
That's been a point that I've been making about Star Wars, is I think sometimes as fans we try to complicate
exactly
things. And when you watch the movie, it's just what you said, though. It's Luke is the good guy because he's wearing white, and Vader's the bad guy because he's wearing black.
Yeah,
go for it. And that, every movie, even The Last Jedi, like they're all pretty much just laid out there like that. Like, hey, this is what's happening. Yeah. So do you think it's curious that Rey is wearing white in Rise of Skywalker and not black like her father Luke in Return of the Jedi?
You think you're so sneaky, don't you?
Well, they have to be related because that's the big twist, Brock.
Oh, surprise! Wouldn't that make you furious if you figured it out already? Like, I'm not saying that can't be the ending of the movie or the twist in the movie, and it can't still be satisfying, but just like, oh, by the way, you've been a Skywalker this whole time. It's like, I'd be kind of upset because it's just like, so I'd argue that it would make Last Jedi seem like 50% of it like, oh, well, why did we go through that? I mean, I say whatever you want about Last Jedi, it's your own opinion, but like, I enjoyed the back and forth between Luke and Rey, and even though they sort of like respect each other at the end, it's sort of like, it says like, oh, by the way, that guy that died is your father. I'm like, oh, the thing I've been searching for so long is now given to me and then taken away. Assuming she can't just call him up on the Force Ghost hotline. I don't know. I still would be so like, oh, that's kind of makes me mad. I don't know. That's my opinion. So
I think, yeah, I don't know. She's somehow connected with Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
With the Skywalker name. But I don't mean blood. There's something with her. And I said this to you before, because you don't have her as the lead in a trailer that's about the name Skywalker.
Yeah.
Not associate. Like, just on some level, it'll be like, by the way, your purpose in all of this is to, I don't know, rise a Skywalker. That sounded kinky. Your whole that's the whole purpose is just to do that. But SHVP is back, and wow, who did you see that one coming?
Sorry, what'd you say?
With SHVP, Emperor Palps. Did you see that coming, that he'd be back?
No, I mean, it's not like he hasn't been present in other Star Wars titles or, comics, cartoons, but he was still in the timeline that he existed in to an extent, right? Like he was alive, you see him in Darth Vader, but that occurs between two of the movies, not like now. So I'm not against it. Like it's just, I said it before, even Celebration is like, we're adding all these actors and all these characters. I mean, there's a good chance that it's going to be a long movie because Avengers Endgame is going to be 3 hours. So if Avengers can do it, why can't the Rise of Skywalker do it? And I'd be all for it because I love Star Wars. I'll sit for 4 hours. But yeah, no, I had no clue, and it's interesting that like in a lot of the panels or interviews, Kathleen Kennedy and I think Ian McDiarmid says, "Oh yeah, I knew about it. This has been a plan." Yeah. Like I mean, it's probably evolved at some point, but the concept of Palpatine coming back has always been present.
And well, they say that, and the thing is, the Aftermath trilogy, Andrew and I did a few videos on that. Actually, the very, very first Unleashed was on Empire's End, because we were like, we have to talk about this book because this could tie into Last Jedi a lot, and it didn't.
Oh, it didn't.
But now I'm looking at it, and I got to do another video with Andrew because that could 100% tie into Episode 9.
Nice.
There's a lot that is mentioned, and you're like, well, okay, this is going to play out, and it never played out. And I'm looking at it, and it's like, okay, they knew that they wanted SHVP to be a part of this, but did they know how? I feel like they didn't know how, so they just kind of like, we'll plant some seeds that no matter what we do can become something.
Right.
And oh, by the way, side Total Akbar, have you started reading Master and Apprentice yet?
I was just gonna say I have. I bought it about 2 days ago with the ebook. I think I'm about 60 pages in. I like it, and I was just gonna say there could be potential for explaining an Emperor plan. He's not in the book, to my knowledge, but like. The whole Qui-Gon's always reading the
prophecies.
Yeah, prophecies in the Jedi archives. So it's like maybe we could lead to something. And that, like, there's one part I highlighted because you know how I love highlighting in those ebooks. There's 3 parts that Obi-Wan is trying to deal with, and he's saying this and this, and I'm like, ooh, highlight. Let's figure this out. They trust Claudia Gray with a lot of things, so this could be something. So let's see. Hopefully that turns out.
Yeah, like she comes right out and says basically a huge part of the sequel trilogy in there, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you started reading as well then? How far are you into it?
I actually got the audiobook because I'm reading Leia, Princess of Alderaan right now.
Ah, nice.
And so I drive like 30-40 minutes to work every day. So I was like, yeah, I can listen to this to and from work every day. So that's what I've been doing. So I got it. When did I get it out? 2 days ago. So I have no idea where I am. Oh, it's when spoiler alert. Obi-Wan has just found out that Qui-Gon was asked to join the
Jedi Council.
Council.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan is like, boo, how dare you? So that's where I am.
So you're a little further than I am.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
I thought you'd be further than me because the thing with I don't do audiobooks, and you know what, I actually prefer reading to the audiobook, and I'm really figuring that out right now. But I don't know how far I am. It's like he's like chapter 6, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm on chapter 6 or 4. I don't know where I am. So I have no idea. I think I could tell you what percentage I'm on.
Percentage.
There we go. Hold on, I'm opening it up. Master of Chapter 7. I have 6.5 minutes left of chapter 7 to go.
6.5 minutes.
6.5
Is
minutes.
it just one person reading it, or is there like a cast of people?
It's one, but he does like all the voices different, and it does have music and stuff. I'm looking forward to Dooku. Dooku should be, I think, those different voices. So I'm 19% done this book. How long is this book? 300,000 pages?
I think it's 380 pages.
It's like a Fantasia book.
They wish.
Yeah, Fantasia could have write that short if he tried. Good on him. All right, let's move on to Never Tell Me the Odds.
Never tell me the odds. Let's do it.
Never Tell Me the Odds. Do you know who's bringing us Never Tell Me the Odds this
No,
week?
tell me.
Our Patreon.
Wow.
Yeah, who are they, Brock?
Well, to start, there's Heidi Fedor, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, which came up as Denise on this list, Christine Allison, Mary Kristen Athen, Jeff Wilson, Aaron Quinton, Al Schuler, Phil Staniforth, and James, take it away.
Heather Long, JRB Nerdcast, Scott D, Jacob Nixon, Andy Higgins, Mason Hopi, Matt W, FP, and of course, the Den of Nerds.
What do you think JRB stands for in the JRB Nerdcast?
I actually know, but I'm not going to say it.
Jedi Red Bilbo Baggins. Perfect.
What was that?
I said Jedi Red Bilbo Baggins. It's a Star Wars Lord of the Rings /
That is exactly
Hobbit.
it. All right. So thank you all for supporting us on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, go over to Patreon. Also, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and yeah. I don't know how to do that. I don't. Just please like us, subscribe. Well, if you don't like us, just like us and subscribe anyway.
Please
it helps
like
us out.
Please.
We're doing a pretty cool Patreon contest soon, I think. So
Yeah.
saying.
I wish I could
Brock.
enter.
I might actually enter. I actually right now I am taking the mantle of who do I want to be? Aaron Quinton. I am now Aaron Quinton.
And I will
Who are
be
you?
Heather Long. Here's my
I
Heather
knew it!
Long cosplay.
Brilliant. So we are both now entered into the contest to win it.
Hooray!
Although when we have to show ID, we're both screwed. We are bummed. All right. Thank you very much for that. And yeah. All right. Here are the odds. The first odd. The odds. This odd comes from Keith Davidson. Keith Davidson asked the odds of Rey lifting Luke's X-Wing out of the water beneath Ahch-To.
Ooh. I think the odd is, what are the odds that they're going to go back to Ahch-To? I think she can do it. So 100%. Well, then it's really, are they going to go back to Ahch-To? Which would be fantastic. But I think the people of Skilling Martin Island do not want anybody there because they're slowly destroying the ecosystem there. I'm going to say 60% because I believe some time is going to pass. So to go back there kind of seems redundant. Though I did have the thought, I was like, well, what if she went back? I think she probably, we're all assuming through the Force she felt, or well, they say it, what am I saying? They felt Luke go into the Force or just disappear. So it would never be a need of a scene where she's like, where is he? Hi, I'm home. Where are you? So yeah, 60%.
I'm going to go lower.
Oh.
I don't know what yet. I have to think about it because I think they're going to go back to Ahch-To. Ahch-To. But I don't know if she's going to need to lift that X-Wing out of the water. I think that water might be its final barrier. I'm going to go 21%.
Oh, 21.
I could be very, very wrong, and I want to see that scene. I wanted to see it in The Last Jedi. When it was an odd for if that'll happen in The Last Jedi, I wanted to see it then. So I want to see it. I just don't think it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. All right, our next odd, and this one is making a lot of headway right now. Kathleen Kennedy mentioned that they have scripts or ideas floating around for the Old Republic, and everybody said they are planning it, but she never said that once because people don't listen. What are the odds that we'll get an Old Republic film in the near future?
Gonna go full Brock on it because it's like it's an easy project to go after, because you'll get people who are interested in it. But like you said, she just said it's in development. So that doesn't mean
barely.
anything. Yeah, it's like, oh, we have it. It's like, yeah, they probably have a full boardroom of just whiteboards up and down the walls of just every possible character in Star Wars. They're like, yeah, we could do something with all these. It's like, yeah, it's all under development. So, do I want it to happen? Yes. Do I think it's gonna happen? I don't know. So that's why we're going full Brock on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna go 35% because then, unless Benioff and Weiss, which is possible, or Ryan Johnson, which is possible, end up doing one, it's not gonna happen for 10 years. Yeah. Unless it's a series. So I'm gonna go 35%. But it is gonna happen.
Yeah.
It is gonna happen. But I said near future.
Yeah.
I said near future, so I don't think it's gonna happen in the near future. And the final odd is one of the most important odds we've ever done on this channel. What are the odds that we will see a Porg in episode 9?
Oof. See, it's so simple. Like, you just have to show a scene on Millennium Falcon, and it's just the one from Last Jedi is just still there. Or, well, how amazing it would be if it's just like Chewbacca returning to Octo and just letting it fly, but it doesn't fly, just sort of hovers down to the ground. I'm gonna go 25%. Only just because I don't think they're gonna go back to Octo. I mean, the second you go back to Octo, yeah, we're gonna see Porks, but like, I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go 25% on it.
I'm gonna go 75%. This is my only positive odd because I want it to happen, and I'm going to will it to happen. There is one on the Falcon, and their lifespan is more than a year. J.J. Abrams, and I want nothing more than to watch Lando Calrissian, his old buddy Chewbacca, and his old buddy Porgy McPorkster on that Falcon, all co-piloting together. Can you imagine the Porg taking the gunner ship, the turret at the back, and he's like, "Don't get cocky, Porg." I want that 75% from me. Thank you and good night.
It does something that saves the day at the end, like it grabs two loose wires and but lets the current go through its body, and then it saves the day.
Oh my god. All right, let's move on to the news.
The news, that's me. Time for the news. And he opens up the Word document. Okay, you probably already heard this. Most of these stories kind of have to pertain with Celebration, because I don't know if you heard, it happened last week. George Lucas in the Phantom Menace panel repeated that his favorite character is Jar Jar Binks, and he said on the video they had is like, Phantom Menace is one of my favorite movies, and of course Jar Jar is my favorite character. Ahmed Best, who was on the panel, you did a fantastic job. It was very, very hard. So kind of, I think he truly loves that Jar Jar character, and he doesn't regret anything. And plus, with the backlash that character had, Ahmed Best had to deal with that. So this was like a public like, thank you for doing this. But of course, the internet did what they do best, and just completely went crazy on it, and says like, oh, blah, 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 we don't like this. And there's people who are like, again, complaining. But if you watched any of the panels, people were very positive for just everything Star Wars. So, Twitter, relax. But I thought I just mentioned it because it's like George Lucas said that this is his favorite character. So maybe it's not as bad as one. And in the same vein, you might have heard of the YouTuber Eric Butts, who he does a lot of video reactions, and he did one to Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Then he got a little bit of backlash because he's one of those emotional kind of people, and he clearly loves Star Wars, so he shed a few tears. And people went nuts, saying all these garbage things like, "Oh, this is like it's like, if you don't like it, you don't have to comment. You can just hit the downward thumb, and he'll understand. Oh, maybe I should back off on the emotion." But people to the point saying like, this is why women can't find strong men, and this is worse than a man wearing cargo shorts, which is like, yikes. But it was all redundant because it's like, he was on vacation with his fiance. He did the reaction while on vacation. So it's like, oh, this man doesn't have a wife or a significant other. It's just like, she apparently, like, I didn't watch it, but James watched it. And I think you see his fiance in the background. So it's like, where are you coming from? And that person who tweeted that is a woman. Just like, aren't we in a different time? But I'll get off my soapbox. The nice part of this story is that Mark Hamill went to bat for this gentleman, saying, thank you. This is why we do the movies. And it's great to see someone so emotionally affected by how long is the trailer? Like 2 minutes? So Mark Hamill, as much as I might complain about him being on Twitter, this is where he does good. And hooray. And because of that, there was a lot of support from people in the movie and writing industry, especially other Star Wars people like Gary Wood of Rogue One, who apparently remembered when Eric Butts did a reaction for Rogue One as well. So it's like, or maybe it was not Gary Wood, but someone affiliated with that. And like, that's rad. Like, that must be so exciting for him to hear that. So a happy story in a world of trolls. And lastly, in internet stuff, Kevin Smith has put his hat in the ring of theories for Last Jedi, for Rise of Skywalker. We actually kind of thought about this as well in the streams last week. He said on one of his podcasts, Hollywood Babylon, that perhaps Skywalker isn't a reference to a person, but to a new title for a person. So he says, I'll quote it here. What if the last movie was The Last Jedi? What if they are telling us the title the way that Jedi has been used historically in these movies, including in the last movie, The Last Jedi, the Jedis must end? What if that's it for the Jedis? And perhaps the new religion are the Skywalkers? Wouldn't that be dope? Like, Luke was so important to the universe that from then on, they named the order after him. They're all Skywalkers. So, you know, yeah, that's just his reaction. It's kind of fun to hear Kevin Smith put his thoughts into it. But we talked about this as well. If you want to hear him do it, because he curses a little bit more, and I had to edit this. But check out the last episode of Hollywood Babylon that he does with Ralph Garman, and I'm sure he probably talks for 40 minutes about Star Wars, and everybody loves Star Wars. That's it pretty much for news. There's one more thing. I can't remember. Oh, J.J. Abrams apparently said something about that. We haven't heard the end of Rey's parents. I believe that's a pretty accurate statement that happened recently. So that's something. Hooray! And this has been Hollow News.
Hollow News is come and gone.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Hollow News.
Goodbye,
All
Hollow
right,
News.
Brock, we got top 5 by Andy Higgins. Have we decided how we're going to do this top 5 yet? Because it's top 5 John Williams tracks.
Yeah.
But are we going to do it like top 5 John Williams in any movie, or top 5 John Williams Star Wars tracks?
Let's give it to Star Wars, because then I'm just going to be like, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Superman, the motion picture. And all my choices are Star Wars.
So let me just pull up some Star Wars music names.
Okay.
Yo, does Solo, the theme from Solo, count?
Yeah, sure.
All right, it's not on my list, but it's really good. All right, do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Bum, 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 the Cantina Band.
That's mine too. I put Jabba's Palace Band, but I was like, nah, let's just keep a Cantina Band.
But it's so iconic. Like, it's like, I don't know if he's proud of it or not, but it's super iconic.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to think that, like, that's one of the songs he composed, but he composed most of the music, I believe. Maybe that's wrong, but, like, when you look at it, it says composed by Jabba's by John Williams.
This is actually really hard to come up with 4, because there's so many good ones. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Rey's theme isn't on it, and Rey's theme is awesome. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, that's really good. There's a lot of good, solid tracks, My number 4 has to be, though, however, it can't be that one, can't be that one, can't be that one. It has to be the main theme. The main theme. Is that weird that it's number 4? That's kind of weird.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It should probably be number 1. You know what, though? It's probably number 1. The problem is, it starts you off, and you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. But then when the movie goes on, there's other music, you're like, this is the greatest music ever. So it's like fighting each other, but it's so far in the back of my mind because it happened so long ago that it can't be number 1 because it's so long ago. It's like A New Hope. New Hope can't be the number 1 Star Wars movie. It happened too long ago.
Yeah.
So that's what we just lost 17 subscribers.
Yeah, well, what you gonna do? 1 quarter subscriber. My number 4 is Parade of the Ewoks, which is basically just the music you hear when you're in the Ewoks village or when you first meet like Wicket. That's the music that I know if I ever go to the Redwood Forest in California, I'm gonna be like,
yeah. That's not on my list either, but it's so good. And Yub Nub, oh, there's a drink at Galaxy's Edge called Yub Nub, and you and I are going to be indulging in some Yub Nubs.
Of course, like that's half of what you do at Disney. You eat the random food they have there.
Yeah, especially if it's called Yub Nub. Yeah, no, go to the Redwoods. That place is actually awesome, regardless. My number 3. Oh gosh. Well, that one just kind of threw me. Across the Stars. It's a really good, solid track. It's very Star Warsy, but it's just good. It's just plain. Yo, my list is going to be controversial, or as I say in proper English, controversial. It's going to be, people are really going to come after me on this one. That's my number 3. What's yours?
Mine is Ewok Celebration, or what you like to call Yub Nub.
Yub Nub.
I was gonna copy some of the lyrics and just read it out loud because it's insane. But yeah, I mean, they took it out of the remastered versions because they kind of, I mean, it was kind of still there, but not to the same. You know what I mean? Like it's like when they show like Celebration on different planets. Yeah, they kind of took that out, which it kind of makes sense because you're not with the Ewoks at the moment, but. Still, like a fantastic, just everything Ewoks is just so interesting to me. So I had to put them both on.
I almost want to change my number 3 and make it the song at the end of the Phantom Menace on Naboo, the Celebration song, because that song is so good too. Oh, there's so much good song. Okay, number 2. This one's gonna get me probably fired from the channel. Here we go. Ready? Let me see if I can drop a beat. Bum 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 ba ba ba. That's the remix. It's the Imperial March, which, you know what, isn't even in A New Hope, so don't give me any grief about it. It's not even in the first movie.
I gotta tell you, on my notes here, Imperial March at number 2 as well, but I'm going to change it up because that's what we do here. Duel of the Fates, number 2. It's gotta be it. It's, you know, I've said.
Is this because you didn't want to have the same number 1? Is that why?
No, I was gonna throw it in. I thought, and I never wrote it down. But I want to switch it up. I want to be controversial. Duel of the Fates, like that one, I argue it's up there with main title. Like it's. I remember like I think I've said this already on the podcast. I remember watching MTV and they showed it like 3 times, which is crazy. Like. Star Wars was not really a thing at the time, but they were so psyched about the song, and you just said it too, the celebration at the end of Phantom Menace, that song, and like Duel of the Fates, like to like they don't really bookend because Duel of the Fates is not like a couple scenes prior, but to like those 2 songs, they're just like wow, hype, like it's John Williams, so like there's no question that what he makes is always going to be interesting, but like. Duel of the Fates, just like I think you could start singing and someone across the room would be like What's your
That's my number 1,
James?
It's either that one or Jaws. Is Jaws a Star Wars song? Bottom. Bum, ba-da-ba,
it is. It's canon.
John, you know, I was thinking about it the other day, like Jaws is great. in the end, like they're all John Williams. But
Yeah.
then you listen, and I don't know if you've seen Hook. You have, but
Yeah.
the music from Hook is kind of similar to Harry Potter. And then you start going, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you, John Williams. I hear you squeaking in. And then he does Ray's theme, and you're like, I don't know where that one came from. Good. Well played, sir. Number one for me is ba-ba-ba-ba-da.
Oh, Duel of the Fates. Wow.
Yeah, of course it's Duel of the Fates. I'm a Phantom Menace guy. Darth Maul is my fave. He fights Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. It's like Anakin blows up a mini Death Star thing, and he's like, yippee! And he's like, now this is pod racing. And he goes all crazy, and like, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, all day, every day, let's do it.
My number one. Let me set the scene. You're sitting in a movie theater. You're surrounded by Star Wars geeks. And they're like, chatter. This is not how it works because we see previews, but the room goes dark. And then you see, there's silence. And then the Lucasfilm logo comes up in that weird green thing they do. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And then you are blasted with trumpets and tubas and whatever. Star Wars main theme. How can you put anything else on the top of the list? Because it is the one song that silence like starts it when you think about it. It doesn't, but you know what I mean? Like, we're so used to that being silence and then the blast hitting you in the face. And you're like, Star Wars! Boo! And then you read a bunch of scrolling words. It still gives me goosebumps. I've said this to you before in the theaters because they keep doing it. It's like, oh, I mean, half the time, everyone knows the second they see that Lucasfilm, like, you usually get applause at that point. And
you're like, shut up, I want to hear the music.
It's like, it's gonna start.
That was what
yeah.
I don't know. Did you ever watch the Mandalorian panel? Have you seen the whole thing yet?
I haven't watched the whole thing yet. That's one other thing I have to finish.
Well, when they block it out to show footage to the people in the room,
Yeah.
you're sitting there for 3.5 music with amazing music playing, and you're just like, all right, I'm kind of pissed off, but I'm also like, I'm really enjoying this music right now.
Yeah.
And that's just the power of Star Wars, you know. Let us know your top 5 John Williams or top John Williams. Let me know how crazy you think I am. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's working. It's working. I love
Pod
that
racing.
movie. I don't even
very
care.
fast. Very dangerous.
Very dangerous. I love that movie. I watched that panel live. I took my lunch break to coincide with the Phantom Menace panel, and I also watched the Ahmed Best live on the Celebration show
me
stage. Huge. You know, I like Misa. Remember when I got the Jar Jar pin in Orlando?
Oh, I wish we had that on video. Oh,
that was the thing. So yeah, because Aaron taped me opening the one, and it was Ezra, and I was like, oh, "That's cool." And then she stopped taping, and it was like you or someone was like, "There's a second one in there." I go, "What?" And I opened it was Jar Jar, and they almost kicked me out of the hall because they're like, "Shut up!" I'm like, "I can't." It's Jar. I was going crazy, and that was the most genuine reaction you could have gotten out of anybody for anything.
Were you disappointed at all with the Phantom Menace panel? Was it what you thought it'd be? Were you expecting maybe like Ewan McGregor?
I wasn't expecting Ewan McGregor. I was kind of maybe expecting Liam Neeson a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what? I was really looking forward to it. I did really like it. I love that they stuck with the behind the scenes aspects of it. Mm-hmm. And my thing was they were like, and you get the surprise guests, and it's like, well, who was a surprise?
Yeah.
Like everybody was there all weekend. It's not like they brought anybody on stage that wasn't there already. So like from that aspect, and the stories were great, but we saw the Prepare to Get Mauled panel 2 years ago, so we knew his story already that they talked about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it. I'm curious because next year, everyone's talking about what are they going to do, but it's the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. Are they going to do something for that? And the other thing is like they went so over the top in a good way for Star Wars New Hope, like 4 years of Star Wars, that they can't do that every time.
No.
And so like, is the Empire Strikes Back one just going to be, is it going to be Michael, what's his name? Cliff from Cheers? Like, is it that he going to be the only one that comes out? I don't. So
yeah.
I think there could have been a little bit more, but Andrew was there and he loved it, and I enjoyed it. But it was, sorry, not to keep rambling, but it was very similar to the mall one for me, where I was like, this is just nice. It's just nice.
Yeah,
that's what I like. It's just nice.
Exactly. Awesome.
So what about you? Were you disappointed?
No, but I did have the same thing. I was like, I already heard this story from Ray Park and Warwick Davis, and I think some of the Anthony Daniels I had heard of when he was at Fan Expo in Toronto. Yeah. So I was sort of like, oh, this is like the Stan Lee effect, where at some point they're going to run out of stories and they're just going to tell you the same ones over and over again. So
yeah, exactly. But you know what? I got a message from a friend and he was like, dude, I just watched the panel. Did you know that Ray Park was a guard? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't, right? And he was like totally stoked by that. So I was like, no, that's fine. Like, yeah, so I still liked it. And it was exactly what I was hoping it would be, just a nice celebration. And Andrew's seats were so close that of all the panels, I could have won the lottery. And I text you like at 6 a.m. I'm like, I don't care if I'm waking you up. I'm mad. Anyway, this has been the real 122nd episode. Not the 122nd from last week. The 122nd for real, because I kept calling last week 122, but it was 121. Screw up, Brock. You were always scum. What?
What a delight. Another episode in the bag.
Wait, so what is the light, I thought you said?
What is the light of the Force?
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.